Every stone they lifted rewrote what human hands were thought capable of. That tap, that flush, feels modern. But 3,500 years before Rome, before Victorian sewers, the Minoans engineered clean water and waste removal. Sanitation so advanced it let dense cities thrive, freeing people for art and trade instead of survival. Crete lies barely a speck in the Aegean Sea. Around 1900 BCE, its people raised a palace at Knossos, unlike anything else in the Bronze Age world. In 1878, a Cretan merchant named Minos Kalokairinos dug into a hill called Kefala and struck giant clay jars. No records named this people. Only a Greek myth remained. King Minos, his labyrinth, his monster. For over 2,000 years, that story was all the world had of them. Crete is barely a speck in the Aegean, yet beneath its soil, tapered clay pipes cleaned themselves, freeing dense populations for trade, craft, and rule. Inside the Queen's Megaron, Evans's team found something they almost couldn't believe. A flushing latrine. Stone channels built to carry water and waste away by design. 3,500 years old. Then, the Minoans vanished and left behind a written language we still cannot fully read. In 1878, a Cretan merchant named Kalokairinos dug into Kefala Hill and found giant storage jars. No one believed what lay beneath that earth. In 1878, Cretan merchant Minos Kalokairinos struck giant storage jars beneath Kefala Hill, first proof something vast lay hidden. He couldn't know. Buried below sat flushing latrines built 3,500 years before Western homes got indoor plumbing in the early 1900s. Kalokairinos found his jars. Then, nothing. Ottoman landowners refused further digging. Kefala Hill sat silent for 20 more years, its secret buried again. In 1894, a British antiquarian named Arthur Evans arrived on Crete, drawn by Kalokairinos' buried jars. For 6 years, he negotiated through Ottoman bureaucracy. In 1900, he finally bought the hill at Kefala outright. Then he began to dig. In 1878, merchant Minos Kalokairinos dug into Kefala Hill and struck giant storage jars. 2 decades later, Arthur Evans finished the job, uncovering not a monster's lair, but sprawling corridors, clay pipes, bathtubs, and toilet seats. Evans named it Minoan, after King Minos. The evidence was plumbing, not myth. Evans' dig journal describes trench after trench, striking more walls beneath walls, until he wrote in growing astonishment, "This was no house, this was a palace." Beneath the palace floor, Evans's diggers uncovered something no one expected. Terracotta pipes, each segment tapered and slotted into the next. This narrowing channel forced water to accelerate, creating a self-cleaning flow that scoured away silt and waste automatically. A Bronze Age engineer had solved a problem Rome wouldn't address for another 1,000 years. Each pipe segment narrowed slightly into the next, a deliberate taper that forced water to accelerate as it traveled. That increased speed scoured silt and waste from the clay walls automatically, creating a self-cleaning system. Engineers wouldn't formally describe this flow principle again until 3,000 years had passed, long after the Minoans had mastered it. In the Queen's Megaron, Evans found a stone seat positioned above a channel cut directly into the floor. He identified it immediately, a water-flushed latrine fit for royalty. Arthur Evans knelt in the Queen's Megaron and recorded his discovery, a terracotta bathtub, sealed and intact, positioned beside a stone-lined drainage channel. He documented it plainly in his excavation notes, recognizing it for what it was, a sophisticated bathroom designed for a Bronze Age queen, unearthed intact after 3,000 years of burial underground. At Gournia, engineers linked light wells to drainage channels spanning 3,000 square meters, infrastructure serving 27 houses in a single ordinary town. Yet the pipes themselves measured just 7 to 10 centimeters wide, no larger than a modern kitchen sink drain. Massive urban planning, coupled with miniature plumbing, 37 centuries ahead of contemporary civilizations. Egypt raised pyramids. Mesopotamia raised ziggurats. Neither civilization engineered a single functional pipe to carry waste away from their greatest buildings. While Evans pursued palace discoveries, Harriet Boyd Hawes chose different ground entirely. In 1901, she began excavating Gournia, not a royal palace, but an ordinary hillside town. Beneath its streets, she would reveal the truth. This sophisticated plumbing system wasn't restricted to kings. It belonged to everyone who lived there. At Gournia, no palace, no throne room, simply a modest hillside town. Yet stone-lined drains run beneath its streets, channeling water and waste away from ordinary homes systematically. This wasn't luxury reserved for royalty. It was common knowledge, engineered into everyday Minoan life centuries before Egypt or Mesopotamia developed any comparable sanitation infrastructure. At Gournia, Harriet Boyd Hawes became the first woman to lead a major archaeological excavation, uncovering an entire Minoan town built around sophisticated working drainage systems. Zoom out from any single room, and the whole palace reveals itself as one integrated organism. Stone-cut conduits pull fresh water in from hillside springs. Terracotta pipes carry waste out and away. Intake and outflow engineered as one continuous cycle, a system of remarkable sophistication. Fire consumed Knossos by 1350 BCE. Not until roughly 1,400 years later did Europe build anything comparable in complexity. Then the ground betrayed them. Across the sea, the island of Thera erupted violently. Ash rained onto Crete's fields. Walls of water struck the northern coast, shattering harbors and drowning towns. The engineers who mastered water now faced a catastrophe no pipe could drain. By 1450 BCE, the tablets change language. Scribes at Knossos now write Linear B, an early form of Greek, recording sheep, oil, and chariots for new masters. Mycenaean administrators run the palace. The Minoan hand that engineered those pipes has gone silent, replaced by conquerors who inherited the plumbing, but not its makers. When fire ended Knossos, another question burned too. Did Minoans invent this plumbing alone, or borrow it from Egypt and Mesopotamia? Undeciphered Linear A keeps scholars guessing. But here is the complication. Those red columns tourists photograph today, those painted walls, much of it is not Bronze Age at all. Evans poured concrete to rebuild collapsed sections. He repainted frescoes from fragments, sometimes guessing at the original designs. What visitors walk through is his vision of Knossos, built atop the real one. But here is the twist. What Evans showed the world wasn't pure excavation. In the 1920s, he poured concrete to rebuild collapsed halls, then hired artist Émile Gilliéron to repaint faded frescoes from minimal evidence. Restoration became invention. Knossos, as we picture it today, is part archaeological fact, part educated guesswork. Here's the catch. Evans poured concrete over Knossos, and artist Émile Gilliéron repainted its frescoes almost entirely from fragments. Scholars like Nicoletta Momigliano ask, are we studying Bronze Age Crete or Edwardian imagination? Some defend the reconstructions as necessary. Others warn that we can no longer distinguish fact from scholarly fantasy. Here's the twist. Evans named them after King Minos, a legendary figure from Greek myth. we still don't know what these people actually called themselves. Strip away Evans's restorations, and one thing remains undeniable. Real terracotta pipes, pulled from Knossos soil. Evans never excavated Gournia. Harriet Boyd Hawes did in 1901, discovering the same tapered terracotta pipes. Later, Nicolaus Platon found matching stone drains at Zakros. Phaistos yielded identical systems. 3 separate sites, 3 independent teams, one undeniable conclusion. Minoan plumbing wasn't Evans's speculation. It was standard Bronze Age engineering. Scholars still debate Evans's painted frescoes and rebuilt columns, but the pipes tell a different story. Phaistos, Malea, Zakros, separate excavations by different teams, spanning decades, all revealing identical tapered terracotta channels. This wasn't conjecture or theory. The plumbing lies beneath the ground, physically undeniable and absolutely real. Evans found real clay pipes, then constructed a narrative around them. Knossos teaches us this: dig past the label and always verify the actual clay beneath. Why this technology disappeared remains unknowable. Linear A, their writing system, remains undeciphered. Their own documentation on water management and urban density lost forever. This plumbing allowed Knossos to grow far denser than other Bronze Age cities, preventing epidemics. When the civilization collapsed, that advantage vanished. Rome wouldn't achieve comparable systems for another 1,000 years. No written records explain the pipe's precise angle. That knowledge existed solely in the craftsman's hands, transmitted apprentice to apprentice, until no teachers remained. Rome eventually constructed aqueducts and sewers matching Knossos' sophistication, but required another 1,000 years to achieve it. When Rome itself fell, the West lost that knowledge entirely. Centuries elapsed before any European city again dared channel water through underground pipes. Their pipes flowed clean for 1,000 years. Then Crete fell silent, and the knowledge disappeared with it. Not a single Greek text preserved these builders' names. Arthur Evans had to invent the term Minoans from mythology itself, because historical memory had completely erased the civilization that created them. Knossos forgot nothing. Rome forgot everything. If engineering this advanced can vanish for 3,000 years, what is your world forgetting right now?